Beyond a Steel Sky is Revolution's most ambitious adventure to date. And one of the pillars that we build on is a system that we call virtual theatre. The vision for the gameplay is to have characters walking around the world, communicating with each other, following their own objectives.
The virtual theatre characters, they have motivations, they have a daily schedule, they live their life inside a game.
And that's really fun because it allows the player to change the behaviour of the world and the systems.
The player, through Foster, can subvert those motivations, those schedules, to solve puzzles, but also to just have fun in the game.
Virtual theatre actually comes from our very early games. Our original game, Lure of the Temptress, had two ideas that sort of interlinked. The first was that characters wander around the world doing their own things, and they can be affected by the player actions, by the way that the player can subvert the world and change their behaviours. And that felt really, really exciting. But the big problem was that in a 2D world, you couldn't see, once they went off the screen, you couldn't see actually where they'd gone. And you could follow them and you'd have another 2D screen, but they might have moved on. So there was no sense of being able to understand where they were in the world. The second thing that we had was a character, Rat Pouch, and you could string commands together. And it was actually really clever. Tell Rat Pouch to, and then all the verbs that would be appropriate, go to, all the rooms you knew about, and then pick up any object. And you could string really complex lines together, which in principle was brilliant. But in practice, all you could really do was give him commands to go and get things that for whatever reason you couldn't get yourself. So that was very limited. And we never really found a way to expand that gameplay. Which means that when we went on to our second game, Beneath the Steel Sky, the original Beneath the Steel Sky, we actually used very little of virtual theatre. What we did is we had a character called Lamb who walked around the world and performed certain actions. And there was one particular puzzle, which I think was a really nice one, was that you could go into the Link system, which was the digital system, and you could actually take away his authority to travel, which then meant that when he went to the elevator, instead of being able to use it, he couldn't anymore. So we were able to integrate the puzzles directly, which worked really well.
Do you have a problem?
Hi lads, I was hoping to see you. My card isn't working and I can't use the elevator.
Perhaps.
But nevertheless, the idea of virtual theatre as a concept became less and less relevant. We didn't use it at all in Broken Sword 1 or in any of the Broken Sword games. And in the back of my mind, I've always felt that this was something that we were excited by and that there was an opportunity being lost. So by moving into 3D, we actually overcome a number of those problems that we had originally. So when you subvert the world, you can immediately see the effects because Foster can now look anywhere in that world. And it makes a profound difference. It actually makes it work really, really well. And I'm delighted that virtual theatre can come back and be integrated into the very heart of the game.
In Beyond the Steel Sky, very much from the outset, we spoke about virtual theatre. That was something that was part of Revolution's legacy, and we very much wanted to bring that back, but also go further. And that is a behaviour for NPCs to basically be able to think almost like humans and make decisions for themselves. And what that involves is we're using Unreal behaviour trees. They're very good at building on success or building on failure. So I'll just run my test scene so you can actually see what a behaviour tree does. The thrust of the behaviour in this case is right here. And this is where the NPC will choose the activity that they want to do next. And that's really bespoke to each character. The beauty of it is that this very simple tree completely allows for the level designers to mark up and customize every character and every interaction so that they respond in their own unique ways. Really, I think it just gives so much scope for characters to come to life.
The other great pillar that we have in Beyond a Steel Sky is a system called Minos, which is the Internet of Things.
Foster will be able to hack into that system and use it to their own advantage.
All the network systems in this world are driven by a single control. By actually hacking into that system and moving commands around, it allows the player to go into Minos and actually change the core logic behind this Internet of Things. The core to the puzzles then comes from the fact that our virtual theatre system, which is characters walking around in the world, responding to each other and responding to the world, their behaviour can be changed by subverting the world itself.
So Foster has got a hacker, and there is a vending machine in this area. We can bring up the hack menu, and it presents us with a few different possibilities. Hypothetically speaking, you might just want to dispense a drink when you tilt the machine. But if you do that, then you've effectively put the alarm behavior onto the normal use behavior of somebody using the machine in a normal way. So you can expect whenever an NPC tries to get a drink out, that alarm will be set off. And when that happens, then 2CU comes over, even though it's not their fault. This is something that the player has done. 2CU is a surveillance droid. She tries and, present herself as far more innocuous than what she actually is, but in reality she's there to monitor humans. And she just sort of zips around the area and responds to alarms or any other events that seem suspicious in her eyes.
We're incredibly excited. The vision is playing out, and we feel that the puzzles and the way we've designed it and the narrative is all working out. It's a great place to be.
We have the technology, we have the art style, we have the team, and the market is in need of these kinds of adventure games.